Okay, and this is the 68 Charger that I just bought back. I think I got it back in late November, early December. It's a 68 Charger with a 69 Charger taillight panel. Now this car's got a really interesting history. As you can see, it's a 69 taillight panel. Originally, I bought this car for $400 back in 1987, I believe it was, and it had a 440 in it. Brakes worked. It was, it's a solid car. It's got a few little rust patches, but it doesn't need anything major. It needs a floor pan on the I believe driver's side. So it had a running 440 in it. So I kept the car for a while. I didn't have money to do nothing with it, and eventually took the engine out and put it in my race car. Then I got tired of racing, put the engine in my Pro Street car. And around 2000, I just had too much on my plate. I'd had too many projects going on that I didn't have time to deal with. So I sold it in 2000, and didn't know where the car went. I sold it to my neighbor. He kept it for a while because he said he wanted to do something with it. And then a few months later, I noticed it was gone. He said he sold it to somebody. So I'd always wondered, man, what happened to it? So I started looking for it back in about 2011, I believe it was. And I've been looking on eBay, Craigslist, everywhere else, Dodge Charger Forum, everywhere else to try to find it. I just want to know what happened to it. So lo and behold, I'm on eBay one day and I see it, and it looks pretty much the same. When I sold it, it didn't have the coat of black primer on it, and the wheels were a little bit, they had different wheels on it. But the dead giveaway was the 69 taillight panel. And somebody, when I got the car, somebody had butchered, one of the speaker holes. So that's what told me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is my old car. Plus this sticker right here, I remember that. So the opening bid was $10,000. I'm like, man, I said, I don't know if I got $10,000 to spend right now. So I watched the bidding process, and it sold for like $12,500. I'm like, okay, well, whoever's going to spend $12,500 for it's going to probably take good care of it, and not use it for a Dukes of Hazzard jump car or a parts car or something like that. So I said, yeah, I can live with that. So a few weeks go by, and I noticed the car's listed again, and I'm like, wow. I said, wonder what happened. So I emailed the seller, and we talk a bit, and I asked him a few questions, and at this time I'm 100% sure this is my old car. So I said I'll watch the bidding again. So he had bid buy it now for $10,000. So I'm like, man, I just don't know. I said physically the car might not be worth $10,000, but it was worth $10,000 for me to get it back. But I didn't bid on it. So the car sold again for $10,000. And, I checked the guy's feedback. I'm not a stalker or nothing. I just wanted to know if the car got sold, because I noticed it wasn't listed again. And the seller didn't leave the buyer any feedback, and the buyer didn't leave the seller any feedback. So I emailed the guy. I said, hey, man, I said, not to get into your business or anything, but did the car sell? And he said, no. He said, some scammer from overseas bid on a car and wanted to do some shady transaction. And he said, no. He said, I canceled the bid. He said, the car is still for sale. He said, if you want it, he said, just $10,000. I said, man, I got to have it back. I got to. So I nearly wiped out my savings and check-ins to do it. But, I said, I got to have it back. I mean, what are the odds of me finding the car and this guy getting jerked around on it? I said, so let me just get the car back. I said, I'll worry about the money later. I said, it's sentimentally, it's worth having a car back, and I shouldn't have sold it back in 2000 to begin with. So any advice for you guys out there who got cars, you want to keep a car, don't sell it. Figure out a way to keep it. So anyway, the car's in Pennsylvania. I live in Virginia. I'm like, damn, I don't want to drive all over to pick it up. I said, let me call around to find somebody to go get it for me. And I called around, and everybody's wanting $1,600. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. So I'm talking to this dude I work with, and he says, there's a mechanic here who gets cars. I'm like, well, man, I said, that's cool, but I want the car to be insured. I mean, if something happened where it gets wrecked, I mean, I don't want to be at $10,000. So anyway, the mechanic walked over to me. I had mentioned his name, but I respect his privacy, and I don't know whether he wanted to be mentioned on a video, so that's why I'm not mentioning his name. But he's a really good guy. He's a good mechanic, and he's a man of his word, and he did just what it was a great deal. So anyway, the mechanic walked up to me and says, hey, man, I hear you got a car you want moved. I said, yeah, man, it's all in Pennsylvania. He said, that ain't no problem. I'm like, well, let me send you the address. So I emailed him the address, and the next day he come up to me, oh yeah, man, I'll go get it for $400. I'm like, dude, that's a hell of a drive. He said, yeah, man. He said, ain't no big deal. So I'm like, all right, and I work 3 to 11, and he works 11 to 7. So he said, he tells me, he sends me an email, through Facebook. Yeah, man, I'm gonna go get your car Tuesday morning when I get off work. And I said, oh, are you taking a few days off? He said, no. He said, I'm going to come back to work. So the dude gets off work at 7 o'clock in the morning from Virginia now. This is Richmond, Virginia. Drives all the way up to Pennsylvania, up in the mountains and stuff. Loads the car up, has it on he sends me pictures around 1:30. He says, hey, man, I got your car in the trailer. I'm on the way back. Comes back to work that night. Got my truck. He's got his truck with the trailer attached. My car on the trailer, sitting in the parking lot. He says, hey, man, he says, I didn't have time to drop it off at your house. He said, I'll bring it by, I guess it was Wednesday morning at this point. He said, I said, man, that's fine, man. So then Wednesday morning, he sends me a text picture with the car sitting in my, my yard, and then I'll later put it back in the garage. But, I'm just happy to have it back. My plans for it, nothing right now because my ass is almost broke. I'm still putting money back in where I bought it back, but the money always works itself out, but car deals never do. Okay, I'm going to split this up into 2 videos because y'all might not want to see everything.